The night of February 15, 2002 was like any other in the quiet town of Hoover, Alabama. The stillness was interrupted by the distant sound of a car engine and the faint hum of streetlights. Little did anyone know, this night would mark the beginning of a series of events that would forever change the lives of two families. In 1989, within the bustling hallways of a high school in Alabama, two teenagers from starkly different worlds collided. Alan Bates was the charismatic, popular student involved in various activities. His days were filled with football practice, student council meetings, and hanging out with friends. Alan was well-liked and respected, always seen with a smile on his face, and often the life of the party. Jessica, on the other hand, stood on the fringes of the social spectrum. Known for her goth attire and heavy makeup, she exuded an aura of mystery and rebellion. Her presence was often a topic of hushed conversations, and her reputation as a goth further isolated her from the mainstream student body. Despite her outcast status, Jessica possessed a magnetic pull, one that intrigued Alan and led to their unlikely connection. Their romance quickly became the subject of school gossip. Jessica, often seen as the brooding outcast, and Alan, the all-American boy, seemed an improbable pair. The contrast was stark and their relationship a whirlwind. When Jessica became pregnant, the whispers turned into full-blown gossip. Many speculated about Alan's future and what this meant for his promising path. Determined to do the right thing, Alan married Jessica in a secret ceremony. It was a decision driven by a sense of duty and an earnest attempt to provide stability for their unborn child. The weight of adult responsibilities fell heavily on their young shoulders, but Alan was determined to stand by Jessica and their child. Life as teenage newlyweds was fraught with challenges. Alan, determined to fulfill his responsibilities, took on the burden of balancing work, college, and family. His days started before dawn and ended late into the night. The relentless schedule left him exhausted, but he persevered, hoping to build a better future for his family. Jessica's expectations grew increasingly demanding. Her dissatisfaction with Alan's efforts became more apparent with each passing day. Despite his best attempts to provide and care for his family, Alan could never seem to meet Jessica's ever-increasing demands. The strain on their marriage was palpable. Compounding their marital issues was Jessica's infidelity. While Alan worked tirelessly to support them, Jessica sought solace in the arms of others. Her affairs were an open secret, known to friends and even to Alan. This betrayal added another layer of complexity to their already tumultuous relationship. By 1994, Alan had reached his breaking point. The constant struggle, the betrayals, and the unending demands took a toll. He filed for divorce, hoping to find some semblance of peace and start anew. Jessica's initial resistance was short-lived. She softened when she realized that Alan was not going to fight for custody of their daughters and was willing to continue paying child support. The divorce was finalized, but the end of their marriage marked the beginning of a new chapter of conflict and bitterness. Jessica's jealousy and bitterness intensified following the divorce. She made every effort to disrupt Alan's visitation schedule, imposing unreasonable restrictions on his time with their daughters. Alan, striving for peace and eager to maintain a relationship with his children, initially tried to comply with Jessica's demands. Despite court orders, Jessica frequently denied Alan his visitation rights. She often wasn't home during his scheduled visitation times, or she hid the children at her mother's house. Multiple warnings from the court did little to deter her disruptive behavior. Jessica's actions became increasingly erratic and defiant. Alan's frustration grew as he witnessed Jessica using their children as pawns in her game of control and manipulation. He sought the court's intervention multiple times, hoping for a resolution that would allow him to spend time with his daughters without interference. Despite numerous court orders and reprimands, Jessica continued to defy the legal system, leading to a cycle of constant conflict. In the midst of this turmoil, Alan met Tara Klug. Tara was everything Jessica was not: calm, composed, and genuinely caring. She quickly became a stabilizing force in Alan's life, providing the support and understanding he desperately needed. Tara's relationship with Alan's daughters was equally positive. She treated them with kindness and respect, earning their affection. Jessica's jealousy knew no bounds. The sight of Alan with Tara and their daughters was too much for her to bear. Her attempts to disrupt their happiness intensified, leading to more court battles and even more strain on everyone involved. Meanwhile, Jessica had moved on and married Jeff McCord, a sheriff's deputy she met through her job as a Birmingham police dispatcher. Jeff, initially seen as a stable presence, soon became entangled in Jessica's web of manipulation. Their marriage was marked by financial struggles and mounting debt, which only added to the tension. Jessica's control over the children was slipping, and she could sense it. Losing the child support and the thought of Tara raising her daughters was unbearable. Desperation set in, and Jessica's thoughts turned darker. While serving a brief jail sentence for contempt of court, she read a murder mystery that planted a sinister idea in her mind. Jessica's plan began to take shape. She and Jeff devised a scheme to eliminate Alan and Tara, ensuring she would never lose custody of her children. The plan was cold and calculated, with every detail meticulously thought out. On February 15, 2002, Alan and Tara flew to Birmingham for a custody deposition. They had arranged to visit the girls, unaware of the deadly trap that awaited them. Jessica, pregnant with her 5th child, and Jeff lured them into their home under the pretense of a puppet show. As Alan and Tara entered the McCord home, they were greeted with apparent cordiality. Jessica invited them to sit on a leather couch in the family room, while she left the room under the guise of fetching the girls. Moments later, Jeff entered the room and opened fire, shooting Alan and Tara multiple times. The ambush was swift and merciless, leaving the couple with no chance to defend themselves. With Alan and Tara dead, the McCords moved quickly to cover their tracks. They loaded the bodies into the trunk of the rental car and drove to a remote area in Rutledge, Georgia. There, they set the car ablaze, believing the fire would destroy any evidence. Returning home, Jessica and Jeff meticulously cleaned the crime scene. They stripped the blood-soaked leather from the couch, replaced floor tiles, and scrubbed away blood splatters. Confident they had committed the perfect murder, they went about their lives as if nothing had happened. When Alan and Tara failed to arrive in Atlanta, their worried parents contacted the authorities. Philip Bates began calling police agencies and hospitals, searching for any information about his son and daughter-in-law. The discovery of the burning car and charred bodies in Georgia set off alarm bells, and the investigation quickly zeroed in on the McCords. Police interviewed Jeff at work, where he seemed unconcerned about the deaths. He provided a false alibi, claiming he and Jessica had gone out for a belated Valentine's Day celebration. Jessica's story mirrored Jeff's, but investigators were skeptical. A search warrant for the McCord home revealed damning evidence, including traces of blood and signs of a hurried cleanup. The evidence was enough to arrest Jessica and Jeff McCord on charges of murder. The trial garnered national attention, with every detail scrutinized by the media. Prosecutors depicted Jessica as a vindictive ex-wife, driven by jealousy and a desperate need for control. Jeff, once a trusted officer, was portrayed as her willing accomplice. In court, forensic evidence linked the McCords to the murders. Witnesses recounted the bitter custody battle and the tumultuous relationship between Alan and Jessica. The jury, faced with overwhelming evidence, found Jessica and Jeff McCord guilty. They were sentenced to life in prison without parole. The tragic deaths of Alan and Tara Bates left a lasting impact on their families. For Alan's parents, the loss was devastating, but the verdict brought some measure of closure. The community, too, was left reeling from the shock of such a brutal crime. Jessica's daughters, now without their father and stepmother, faced an uncertain future. The psychological impact of losing their parents and the knowledge of their mother's involvement in the crime would shape their lives for years to come. The Jessica McCord case serves as a grim reminder of the destructive power of jealousy and bitterness. It highlights the importance of addressing family conflicts and the need for vigilance in domestic disputes. The memory of Alan and Tara Bates lives on, a testament to the enduring fight for justice. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime content. Stay vigilant and aware of the world around you.